The new Silk Road of smuggling, how criminal networks are exploiting global trade routes. The global smuggling landscape has undergone a fundamental transformation in the past 24 months. What was once dominated by bulk ocean shipments of cocaine from Colombia to European ports has fractured into thousands of micro-distribution channels, each carrying smaller quantities, using different routes, and exploiting the same legitimate supply chain infrastructure that powers global commerce. BorderTrend's analysis of over 12,000 seizure reports from January 2025 through April 2026 reveals a pattern that border security professionals need to understand. Criminal networks are no longer fighting the system. They're embedding themselves within it. The fragmentation strategy. In 2023, a single seizure of 23 tons of cocaine in Rotterdam made international headlines. By 2025, the same total volume was being intercepted across hundreds of smaller shipments, averaging under 200 kilos each, distributed across dozens of ports and routing through 6 to 8 transit countries before reaching their destinations. The cartels learned from Rotterdam. They don't want their entire operation seized in one port anymore. They've adopted the same risk diversification strategy that any competent logistics company uses. Senior Europol analyst, quoted in OCCRP investigation, March 2026. This fragmentation creates a fundamental challenge for border security agencies. It increases the total number of shipments that need to be inspected while simultaneously making each individual shipment appear more legitimate. Key findings. Our analysis identified several consistent patterns across the seizure data. First, the use of legitimate export companies as unwitting conduits has increased by an estimated 340% since 2022, based on Europol and UNODC enforcement data. Criminal networks are increasingly targeting small and medium-sized exporters in origin countries, companies with established customs relationships and trusted trader status, and corrupting individual employees to facilitate insertions. Second, the routing complexity has increased dramatically. The average seizure in 2025 involved goods that had transited through 4.2 countries before reaching their destination, up from 2.1 countries in 2020. Each transit point represents both a risk of detection and an opportunity to launder the shipment's documentation history. Technology as both tool and target non-intrusive inspection, NII. Technology. The high-energy X-ray and gamma-ray scanning systems deployed at major ports has become the primary battleground in the fight against cargo smuggling. The latest generation systems from Smith's Detection, Rapiscan, and Nuctec can screen a 40-foot container in under 30 seconds, detecting anomalies that human inspectors would miss. But criminal networks have adapted. BorderTrend's review of enforcement reports reveals an emerging technique: distributing contraband within legitimate commodity matrices, packing cocaine within organic compounds that have similar density profiles to the declared goods, or concealing fentanyl within industrial chemical shipments, where the masking agent effectively neutralizes spectroscopic detection. What this means for 2026. The intelligence picture for Q2 2026 suggests several developments that border security professionals should monitor. The West African routing, historically used for cocaine transiting from South America to Europe, is showing signs of increased activity, with seizures in Senegal, Ghana, and Guinea-Bissau up 180% year over year through BorderTrend's monitored feeds. The Eastern European corridor, particularly through the Balkans and into EU markets, continues to grow as a preferred route for both narcotics and precursor chemicals. The combination of EU border infrastructure, complex customs regimes, and proximity to major consumer markets makes this region disproportionately important in the global trafficking picture. For customs authorities and trade compliance professionals, the operational implication is clear. Risk profiling models built on historical data are becoming less reliable as criminal networks actively learn and adapt to them. The next generation of enforcement will require real-time intelligence sharing, AI-assisted anomaly detection, and closer collaboration between the private sector and border agencies. BorderTrend will continue monitoring these developments across our 77 verified sources. Subscribe to our weekly brief for curated intelligence delivered every Monday. Enter script